And of course, one of the reasons why I get so excited at around this time of the year is the fact that we are having Halloween on the 31st of October. Now, Halloween is also called Samhain. Samhain is actually traditional name for Halloween. Samhain has been celebrated for many, many years, throughout the world indeed. It's a very specific time of the year. It's a very different time of the year. It's a very particular time of the year. There is no other time of the year like that particular time indeed, because we are entering like a completely different dimension. And the reason why we enter this completely different dimension, it's also the fact that the veil in between this world and the spirit world, it's at its thinnest. So it's a very much so very sensitive time of the year when it comes to spirits, very sensitive time of the year when it comes to the actual relatives that have passed away, very sensitive time of the year when it comes to the actual passing by spirits, any wandering spirits, and things like that, because most certainly, we are able to feel this, we are able to sense this. There's so many of you out there who would actually agree with me with the fact that on the 31st of October, and it's not only that specific day, but the actual the whole of October, it's normally like a little bit strange, it's a little bit different. And by the time we get to the actual 31st of October, like few days beforehand, few days earlier, we can already sense this energy. And then when we get to the 31st of October, it's like, ooh la la, it's a very powerful energy indeed. And when I say it's a very powerful energy indeed, it means that, in so many different ways, we get affected by this without even realizing. But in its essence, it has got such an important effect on us when we kind of like start feeling things on a much higher level, on a much deeper level. We become very sensitive. Our third psychic eye opens, so therefore we are able to connect spiritually. We are able to use the power of our subconscious mind with so much power, with so much effect, which in return, it helps us to connect and reconnect with the nature. It helps us to connect and reconnect with the things around us. It helps us to connect and reconnect with our spirituality. And this is why we feel like, oh my God, it feels like a little bit strange. It feels like a little bit different. It feels like a little bit bizarre, and that's why I said that so many of you, would agree with me, and you will know exactly what I mean when I say that the energy is completely different. You can just feel this, you can sense this. And this energy, it's basically the clear sign that the veil in between this world and the spirit world is at its thinnest. But also, at the same time, everything is literally full of spirits wherever we go, whatever we do. Normally it's like that every single day indeed, but it's very sensitive. We become very sensitive to it, specifically when it comes to the 31st of October. We become very sensitive to it in such a way when our subconscious mind is able to pick up on things, and it's able to respond from a much higher level, from a much higher dimension, purely because our subconscious mind literally takes over, and our connection with the spirits is like absolutely obvious, like there is no tomorrow. You see, this is a very specific time also at the same time when it comes to the actual things that we can do, when it comes to things that we can connect with and things like that. It's a very specific time that we can actually work with this energy. We can work with this vibration. So therefore we can get so much out of it indeed. What else I was going to say, that the 31st of October, you see, is just celebrated right until the 1st of November. And sometimes, in a certain countries or in a certain traditions, it's also been celebrated up until the 3rd of November. So very often the actual Samhain, or if you call it Halloween, but it's the Samhain, the actual Samhain has been celebrated from the 31st of October, sometimes all the way until the 3rd of November. Some cultures and some parts of the world, they're celebrating it just one day. Some parts of the world celebrate it a couple of days. Some parts of the world are celebrating until the 3rd of November. It really depends, but this veil in between this world is pretty much so very, very thin, and it's at its thinnest most certainly in between the 31st of October and all the way until the 3rd of November, you see. But it's just people have been like kind of like lately, you know, celebrating on the particular this specific day on the 31st of October. But it's also as important to understand that we can extend this festival, and we can actually extend this practice, and we can actually find this rather beneficial in many different ways up until the 3rd of November 2020. And this is something what I wanted to say to you so much. It's a wonderful time of the year. It's a brilliant time of the year for discovery, for a self-discovery. It's a brilliant time of the year to kind of listen to signs, to watch for any signs, watch for any signs from the spirit world, to connect and reconnect with the spirits, you know, and things like that. And what am I gonna do now? I'm gonna give you 13 different things. So I'm gonna tell you what would be the 13 best things to actually do every single Samhain or single Halloween. Okay, so number one would be to honor your actual dead, or to honor the dead. This is a very important point, because this is what traditionally people have been doing for many years indeed. So you can basically like just kind of like think about the loved ones, you know, think about the people that have passed away, try to connect to people that have passed away, you know, but also at the same time the power of our mind, the power of our thoughts, it's actually going to bring us so much closer to them, or it's going to bring them so much closer to us. Just remember, when I say to honor the dead, it's very important at the same time to understand that the power of our mind is specific, very powerful, very strong, and very specific at this moment in time, which means that we are creating powerful vibrations that we are not normally creating. And these powerful vibrations are very specific and are very significant when it comes to the actual spirits, and when it comes to them responding to us like so quickly, like, oh my God. So this is why it's so important to actually honor the dead, but at the same time to try to connect and to reconnect to the dead, you know, by just thinking about them, by trying to picture them in our mind, you know, by trying to think about them before you go to sleep, you know, because this is also on another hand another great thing to do, because before we go to sleep every single night our subconscious mind just kind of basically takes over. So we do all sorts of things that we are actually we do all sorts of things that we don't normally do while we are sleeping, while we are dreaming. This is purely because the rest of our brain is actually working. When we are conscious, you know, and we are doing things on daily basis, you know, then it's only the certain parts of our brain is working. When we go to sleep, the rest of the brain takes over. So we are very powerful, we are very clever, we are very smart indeed. But I'm talking about like super smart, and I'm talking about super smart spirituality as well at the same time. So this is why you invite, you know, the dead. This is how you invite your loved ones, you know, the people that used to be in your life, you know, to come closer to you, because the veil in between this world and the spirit world is at its thinnest. They will be able to pick up on this vibration more than ever. So this is one of the things that you do. On another hand, what you also can do is, like, as soon as you wake up in the morning over this period of time, as soon as you wake up in the morning, this is also a very specific and very powerful time indeed, because every single morning when we wake up, you know, the first few minutes we are still pretty much so, like, you know, when you feel like a little bit bizarre, a little bit different, and you need some time, you know, to kind of like come to yourself. You need some time to wake up, you need some time to like kind of ground yourself. Well, at the time when you're grounding yourself, this is also also the time where it's very much so specifically powerful time when it comes to all different worlds and all different dimensions. So the first few minutes when you wake up, you can also kind of think about that particular person, and if you would like to connect or reconnect with them, this is something that it's also kind of going to open the passageway in between you and them. So therefore there will be the sign or some kind of direction that your spirits are actually going to come through forward and let you know that they're okay, or let you know certain message or information that you would need to know in their opinion. Okay, number 2, it would be like a tarot readings. It would be like things like that, like all sorts of like divination, like a tarot readings and things like that. It's also like kind of like a time when we go with this amazing, incredible spiritual flow. It is also traditionally what people have been using, like people have been doing for a really long time. But now, as I said, it is just looking at the things, from a completely different angle, by having this ability to use the power of our subconscious mind, which in return, it opens up our third psychic eye. And that in itself, it's absolutely everything, because specifically if we are doing like a bit of a tarot readings, oracle readings, runes, and things like that, try to connect and reconnect by doing this type of things. And this is in return going to be like a very much so like very accurate in such a sense, when you just end up with all sorts of informations, particular informations that you wouldn't normally end up with, and it's like a guidance, like a very powerful and strong guidance, that it's also very specific, and it's also kind of provides you with lots of other things that you wouldn't normally have. You're able to connect, to reconnect, so therefore you're also able to kind of open yourself, open your psychic, like open your spirituality, open your psychic journey, with this to such a high extent and such a high level that you end up with ideas and options, that you wouldn't normally, ideas, options and visions that you wouldn't normally have, because that this particular time of the year, it's also making all of us like super psychic and on a very high mediumship level. We are all psychic, we are all born psychic, we all have this particular ability. The more we do it, the more powerful we become. The more we do it, the more experienced we become. It's just literally like every single thing that we do, every single job or every single work that we do, the more we do it, the more experience will become. We become. And it's the same thing when you do like a bit of a psychic reading for yourself. But it's just that it's very specific at this time of the year, because you are able to connect like, oh my Lord, like there is no tomorrow. And you do find out certain things about yourself throughout this process. It's not only about like a tarot readings, like oracle readings and things like that, but it's just opening yourself to these possibilities, without you even realizing that, you open yourself so much to such an extent, and that in return, it provides you with an insight that you wouldn't normally have. Okay, so it's number 3. Okay, observe nature abundance. Now, nature is very important at this time of the year, my gorgeous people. Nature is very important because at this time of the year, nature is changing, of course. And now, observing nature, it's in tune with us like there is no tomorrow. So if you can like kind of like maybe go outside a little bit, maybe go into the forest, maybe if you can go somewhere by the lake, if you're lucky enough to live by the lake, maybe if you can go by the river, maybe if you can go by the sea, any kind of like a nature connection or reconnection that you could do, that you could have, it's going to help you so much, because it's going to rejuvenate you in such a powerful way. And that rejuvenation, it's almost going to be like at the same time like a really powerful, like a mind-blowing meditation, a mind-blowing grounding at the same time, where you're going to be able to feel this, to sense this with so much power. And it's about a rejuvenation, spiritual rejuvenation, which is ultimately going to lead towards a physical rejuvenation as well. It's absolutely remarkable moment in time actually to do this, to try to connect and reconnect with the nature. And this is also going to rejuvenate you, and it's going to re-energize you, and it's also going to kind of like once that happens, then you get this right balance. And when that balance comes and happens, you will see how precious and how powerful and how significant and specific this time of the year is, because it is just going to help you out so much in order to focus and in order to make important decisions that have been kind of weighing you down, and important decisions that have been bringing you down. You know, this is such a good time to actually put a little bit of a candle, place a little bit of candle in front of you to light up the whole tunnel. It's a wonderful moment in time, and it's also great because you get all sorts of like kind of ideas as well, that it's very important to kind of pay attention to. Okay. Number 4, it's now, this is going to sound really bizarre and it's going to sound really strange, I know, but it's all to do with a living, and it's all to do with dead. You know, it's to do with the living and the dead. And I'm not only talking about humans, I'm not only talking about people, I am talking about nature, I am talking about animals, I am talking about insects as well. I know this is going to sound really crazy, but it's basically, it's everything that happens in this life. You know, it happens for some kind of a reason. You see, we only spend a little amount on this earth. We come on earth and we stay here for the certain amount of time, and then we just go, we move on. No, we just don't die and that's it. No, baby, no. What happens is that we live many lives, we have many different stages, we have many spiritual journeys, and it depends everything on our lives. It depends on our past life, and what's happening now, it depends on our future life. My point is that it's not only about humans but about people, it's also about animals, it's also about insects. So going back to what I said before, that like literally every single thing that happens for some kind of a reason. Okay. And now when it comes to the actual little insects as well, I know this sounds weird, I said it millions of times, I'm going to say it again, but if you see the little insect in your house, of course on the 31st of October until the 3rd of November, this is the time that I'm specifically talking about, the 31st of October up until the 3rd of November. This time it's very specific, when the veil is really thin indeed. So if in this stage, in this period of time, you find like a little insect in your home, I know this sounds weird, if you find an insect in your home, this is a very, very good and a very powerful sign. So let's say you find like a little bug, let's say you find a little butterfly, let's say you find like a little fly, let's say you find like a little spider, let's say you find like any type of bug, you just take it in your hand. It's there because it's meant to be there. It's meant to be part of your energy. It's meant to be part of your dimension. It's meant to be part of your spiritual journey. You are meant to be there. You are meant to take it. Take it in your hand beautifully, gently, and take it outside. Once you take it outside, nice and gently, just try to look at it, make a connection, make a very strong connection with this insect, and just ask them a question, ask it a question. I know it sounds bizarre, but any type of question that comes to you that you would like to find out, just ask a little question to this insect. First you say, I'm about to release you now, okay? And it's all about that spiritual connection. It's all about karma. It's all about your spiritual journey and what you're doing right now, and where exactly are you directing this energy and the way you acted in this specific situation. It is not about you talking to an insect, but this is much deeper, and it's from a much higher level and a much higher dimension. It's about your connection, reconnection, and understanding what you do in this particular situation. So before you release this insect, just ask it a question. So just say, now I'm going to release you, okay? And I'm very happy to release you. I've absolutely loved doing this. Just feel it for a few seconds, and then ask a certain question, whatever it comes to you. that you would like to know, whatever it comes to that you would like to find out, and then just release this insect. This is all part of your Samhain. This is all part of this beautiful, beautiful time indeed, because once you ask a question and you release this insect, then you wait for like about few days and the answer is gonna come to you. The answer is gonna come to you is going to come to you, and you will see exactly what I mean. Okay, now the next thing, it's number 5. Number 5, my gorgeous people, what to do, it would be the actual start over. It's to start clean, because this particular day has been also celebrated like the new year. Traditionally, this was celebrating like the beginning of the new year at the same time, which means it's all about the transformation. It's all about the new beginning. It's all about the new start. It's all about you feeling yourself. It's all about you feeling things. It's all about reconnection and connection at the same time. It is very, very super important to try to focus and see, you know what came to an end, what is no longer serving you, what is like kind of dragging you in your life, what is making you feel really negative in your life, what is bringing you down in your life, and all these things, you know, like basically it's just so important, because within this circle of this powerful energy, you will be able to connect like so from a much, as I said before, from a much higher angle, and that in itself is going to provide you with a vision about your situation, and you're going to be standing very firmly on the ground. And specifically when it comes to things that you feel very unhappy and uneasy about, you will feel them so much and they will be literally pointed out to you. So it's very important to get rid of the old in order to make a space for the new. It doesn't have to be physically necessarily, but it's also mentally. It's very important to have this beginning, starting point, starting moment with our mind, where we can just direct this wonderful energy towards the right direction, so it can start manifesting process then and there. And when it starts, you know, at this amount of time, at this particular time, it's important because it's just going to go so much further. Okay, number 6 would be contacting spirits. Really, number 6 would be like a contacting spirits indeed. Sorry, and this is also like basically the time when you can just you know, literally kind of like maybe just light a candle. I'm not really like the one for the Ouija boards and things like that. I'm not really I'm for it, because I think there are lots of people who use this type of things like Ouija boards and things like that. Maybe sometimes people don't understand, and maybe sometimes people don't realize that this is not a game, and it can be quite I would say maybe dangerous, because it depends what kind of spirit people invite into their home, into their dimension, into their energy. So Ouija board has been used, you know, for many years for this type of thing, and because it was used for many years, you know, to contact the spirits, you know, even if you are using like a little cat statue, you know, for so many years, it's the energy around it, it's the energy about it that becomes so strong and so powerful that it doesn't take long for us to just look at it. Like, for example, if people are using just a cat statue for this type of divination, cat statue for this type of like, I mean, to contact spirits and things like that, you know, if people have been using this for so many years, this would be just as effective. It's the power of our mind that just kind of makes this projection towards something like Ouija board. So that's why my point is, if people were using this for so long, that now automatically you actually don't even need to kind of start the process of Ouija board. It can be so powerful that you can just buy it and you can take it home. You can just put it in your cupboard and you can just see like a strange things happening. You know, you can feel things that maybe a little bit different. And this is why my saying is just almost like a little portal, you know, at the same time. So that's why I'm saying that I'm not really one for the Ouija board, because it can be quite dangerous. So most certainly, this is not something that I would actually recommend to people to do and to use specifically specifically because people just don't know sometimes what type of spirits they're actually inviting in their homes. There are good spirits and there are bad spirits, you know, just like a people, you know, I suppose, you know, it's just this is how it is. So if people come across like the spirit that is not really friendly, it's very negative, you know, it's not a really nice, or it's not a really pleasant experience. So when it comes to this, sorry, I've just went off with this, but when it comes to the actual contacting spirits, I just mean to like not to use something like a Ouija board or anything like that. Maybe just like light a candle, you know, and things like that. And when you're lighting the candle, you know, basically you just like kind of like maybe think about the loved one, you know, and just like kind of like try to be in realm of this particular energy, and that in return can make you and can help you to feel them so much closer. You know, you're able to feel them so much closer to you as well. At the same time, that what I said before, they're able to use this little passage, you know, throughout this important time to actually kind of come through and let you know certain things. You know, they may not let you know almost immediately, but maybe a few hours later, a few days down on the line, you may find some kind of a sign which is from the spirit world, from the somebody who you wanted to contact, you know. So another hand would be maybe like a try to burn like some kind of incense, you know, as well at the same time. And this is another way of contacting them. You can also like a kind of use like a dry sage maybe, and like smudge your home beforehand as well. And this is the great way to get in touch with the spirits, with the right spirits, because as well when you're like a smudging your home, you are in a sense like kind of like making sure that the certain spirits go away, that the negative spirits go away. But with this process, when you're like a smudging your home, first you smudge your home and then wait for a little while, and then you can light a candle, and then you can connect, and then you can reconnect, and then you can make sure by doing this process that you're that you are reconnecting and connecting with the right spirits in your life. But on another hand, it's like a burning sense as well. Burning sense, it's also kind of quite good to kind of burn around and try to focus on the person, you know, kind of like who you would like to contact with, who you would like to have a contact with, and things like that, you know. And there are other things that you could use, like for example to contact spirits, you know. At the same time, it's just basically it's a very powerful time, so it doesn't take much, but the candle would be something like really kind of traditional and very powerful tool that I would advise you most certainly to try to do in order to contact like a specific spirits. But I would most certainly say to try to stay away from like Ouija boards and things like that, okay? And also like for example, if you kind of like want to reconnect and with somebody who used to be in your life, you know, also another thing that you could do, just take like some kind of object, you know, that they used to have. Take some kind of object that reminds you of them, but also you can take an object that they used to have. You can take an object that they used to wear. Maybe you've got like a little ring that they used to wear. Maybe you've got a little purse that they used to have. Maybe you've got their top, maybe you've got their trainers, you know, maybe you've got their like I don't know, their tarot cards, you know, whatever you have. This is another thing that you could do. Just take it and just kind of like take this in your hand and try to relax and try to connect, and you will be able to feel this, you know, so powerfully. And the same thing also, it's like you can take their photo, you can like kind of sit down, try to relax, just to meditate a little bit, you know. You're in this absolutely wonderful, very powerful bubble, which is at the same time in return going to help you to go much further than you normally would. So these are many ways, you know, there are many ways that you could actually contact the spirits at this time indeed. Okay, the next it's number 7. Number 7, what I recommend to do and what would be great to do, it's also like a wishes for success, you know. This is an important time to be as optimistic as possible. This is not a good time to like be down. This is not a good time to be negative. It's just a waste of such a wonderful time. If we're going to be like a low, if we're going to be negative, or if we're going to be miserable, sorry, if we're going to be miserable, then we go, please, if we can just use some kind of different time, like a week later, yeah? But this time, no, baby, no. It is not a time to be miserable. It is not a time to be sad and things like that. So my point is, be as optimistic as you possibly can, in particular when it comes to focus, in particular when it comes to the next stage. You know, just try to kind of think about your process, your progress, what you have done so far, what you have achieved so far. What would you like to achieve? What blockages you have? What is preventing you to move on? What is preventing you to act in a certain way? What is like kind of slowing you down? What do you need to work on? You know, it's important to understand that your power of your mind is going to be very specific, very strong at this moment in time. The more you dig in, the more you are going to get out. The more you think about it, the more you're going to be able to reflect. And once you do that, there are going to be all sorts of informations and possibilities and options and opportunities that are going to come to you, and they're going to be so important. And this is why I want to say that it's so important to be as optimistic as you can while you're thinking about everything. Just be as open-minded as you possibly can to connect to this picture, and in return, this is going to be a very magnetic energy at this moment in time, which is going to kind of provide you with the realizations that you wouldn't normally have. And it's very strong when it comes to feeling control over a situation, which in return brings you so much self-esteem and confidence, which is an absolutely remarkable energy at the same time. Okay, number 8 is like an initiation, any type of initiation. This is a wonderful, any time for like the confirmation, initiation, new beginning, when it comes to your spirituality, when it comes to doing something big, when it comes to doing something huge, when it comes to doing something massive, when it comes to doing something important, but in particular when it comes to our spirituality, change, the beginning, success, visions, you know, wake up calls, unfoldments, all this is going to be very specific to actually work on or focus on, because it is just a perfect time, very vibrant in so many different ways. It is about understanding of our situation in such a specific way, where we see the end of the journey where we wouldn't normally see. So this is very sacred moment in time, and when we see the end of the journey that we normally don't see and we normally don't get, this is so beautiful moment in time, because it's at the same time, it's all about the power of your mind realization. And as soon as you realize this then and there, this almost creates like a powerful spiritual shortcut. It takes you somewhere else where you should be, like a little spiritual reward, and connects you to the new beginning that you wouldn't normally have. So this is the beautiful little spiritual shortcut that you will also have. But also the bottom line is, any type of initiation and things like that, you should just something is in my eye, you should absolutely literally go for it, because it's an absolutely remarkable moment in time. Okay, so number 9 is all about broadening your spiritual horizons. Now, my God, this is so amazing. Like, think spiritually, what you feel connected to. You know, I say that this is so amazing because every single year I find out so much about myself. I feel things that I don't normally feel. I can connect in a way like I don't normally connect, and this is in particular when it comes to spiritually. You know, like I've got something in my eye, something in my eye, something in my eye. Sorry. Yeah, spiritually, you just basically see. This is why I like it, because it's a very vibrant time when it comes to me. And spiritually, like kind of like maybe if you're into crystals, see which little crystals you can get. You can like kind of connect to what is attracting you, what is calling you. Or spiritually, if you would like to try this, if you would like to try that, if you would try, maybe if you feel like you would need to like a spiritually evolve from where you are, you just literally go for it. And there are all sorts of like a spiritual ideas ideas and spiritual realizations that we actually have. And that in itself is also very important when it comes to us understanding exactly where we are, in particular when it comes to our spiritual journey. Subconsciously we connect so much to our situation now, to our past life, you know, and also we are able to gather the informations that we are not normally able to gather that easy. So that's why in return this is very important to see what is calling you, because very often at this moment in time we have things that are missing in our lives, yeah. But now specifically when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to things that we feel connected to, and when it comes to things that we need to bring into our lives, when it comes to things we want to try spiritually, when it comes to things that we wanted to read up a little bit more, or maybe just did go across your mind not that long ago something, oh, I want to find out about this, I want to find out about that, you know, this is a perfect time to actually go for it and open up yourself at this moment in time, because at the same time you're opening yourself to all sorts of spiritual opportunities that you wouldn't normally have. So this is why this is so important when it comes to our spiritual horizons indeed. Okay, number 10 would be connect with people around you and the people in your life. Now this is the huge one, this is the big one. Sometimes people don't understand that this time of the year it's very important, because we are not only like a spiritually open, but we are very emotionally balanced. Our emotional balance is very specific and it's very particular. So now this gives us the strength, and it gives us the balance, and it gives us the harmony that we wouldn't normally have around us. So very often people feel like, oh God, you know, I didn't talk to this person, I feel so bad, I'm gonna talk to them, you know, or oh my God, I had an argument with Jane, you know, oh no, I didn't want to have an argument with Jane, you know, oh I feel so bad because I had an argument with Jane, you know, I want to fix this, no I don't, I want to fix this, just follow this, man, this is so important, follow this, it's very important. Or it's like, oh my God, when I spoke to Mark last time, you know, oh we just had like a little bit of argument, oh no, I shouldn't have left it there, I feel so sorry, maybe he had a bad day, maybe I had a bad day, you know. It is going to be the sense of amendment, or the sense of like a fixing things, and the sense of like a editing things, but it's also going to come to you suddenly, just like out of the blue. Like maybe you will just wake up in the morning and you're just gonna feel like, oh my God, like I need to talk to him, I need to talk to her. This is very important to just follow the spiritual flow, because it's coming from someone very important, very significant and very specific. And if you do have this, it means that these people are meant to be in your life, they're meant to be part of your spiritual journey, and you're maybe meant to fix this a little bit of argument that you had with them, because it's really not worth it. So this is the one thing that people don't understand, how specific this time is when it comes to our connection and reconnection with the people around us. And also on another hand, it's an amazing time to just basically to go forward, you know, to kind of buy some kind of gift to somebody in your life, to reconnect with the people in your life, to talk to people in your life at around this time, to make this strong connection, because it's very important for us as the humans, you know, to have a very strong connection with each other, and to keep that connection strong. But in particular when it happens at this time of the year, you know, people are very open, people are full of love, people do feel like, oh, it's a strange time, you know, but at the same time this is not negative, it's very positive, and it's just people like tapping into their own subconscious mind, tapping into their own sensitivity, which makes people more emotional. So people are more open-minded, people are more open. So it's important to talk to people at around this time, people in your life, and maybe like try to connect and reconnect, and also try to buy little gifts for people. It's wonderful, because it's also like kind of like it's an important sorry I didn't think this is gonna happen now for this reading, but the light goes off. Basically that's because I still didn't buy new light, because I'm terrible, that's because I'm so busy. But it's just basically, yeah, I didn't think this is going to happen, sorry. So basically, yeah, it's very important to connect and reconnect with the people around you. It is just it's always a wonderful time. And also if you had like a little bit of communication breakdown with somebody, you know, you just simply need to go for it. And especially especially when it comes to like a people that are very important in our lives, that if you had like a connection breakdown and things like that, try to connect and reconnect at this time, because it's just all about this also the great level of confidence that we have in order to deal with things that are like a kind of like a maybe a little bit like a heavy, you know, in particular if there were like some kind of negativity in between you and these people. But it's very important for connection and reconnection with the people in your life. Okay, number 11, it's of course it's look for signs. I mean, this is just absolutely crazy. This is the time to actually look for signs as much as you possibly can. And when I say to look for signs, it's basically like you know, you can try to see around you. Sometimes, you know, especially at this time, you can even feel before you see the actual sign. Okay, you will be able to see before you before the actual sign, and this is so important because it is a very specific time of the year. So the energy and the vibration is very powerful. So this is why when it comes to our subconscious mind, you know, even before you see some kind of sign, you can feel like some kind of strange energy. You can feel an unusual energy. You can feel that the energy entered from somewhere else, from a different dimension, from a different angle. You will know, you kind of know that something is going to take place. You kind of know that something is going to happen, but it's really good, and it just kind of opens your eyes, and it just makes you feel like kind of keen to want to know more, to find out more. And very often we find ourselves like going towards the door, towards the direction that we wouldn't normally go, and then suddenly halfway there we're like, why am I going there? Why am I doing this? No, baby, no, this is not a coincidence. Just go for it, go through it. Perhaps you're meant to do this. You're meant to go through this door, because once you go through this door, there is something waiting for you on the other side that you didn't expect, but it's going to be important when it comes to your journey. It's going to be important when it comes to you know, your next stage and your next step, and the vision that it's going to be followed later. You see, it's all connected, like on such a high spiritual level. Look for the signs, like maybe like a little feather. Very often the spirits live like you know, very often the spirits the spirit world, the people from the spirit world, I guess, yeah, they used to be people, but yeah, people who used to be in our lives, you know, people in the spirit world, or they may not have been in our lives. It doesn't matter. It could have been just a passing by spirit, you know, friendly spirit. There's spirits like all over the place at that time. So just basically look for the little feather. You know, if you do find a little feather and in your home, it will feel different. You will know that this is your sign. It will feel bizarre, but in a good way. It will feel warm, you know, and you will know that this is your sign. You will almost immediately, you will know who this is from. You will just know it in your heart. You will know it in your soul. You will know it in your spirit. You will know who this message is from. And it's just going to enter your mind almost immediately. Oh yeah, it's Elizabeth. Oh yeah, it's Lorraine. Oh yeah, it's like Martin, you know. It really, really depends, you know, who is going to come through. Maybe you will smell like an aftershave that they used to have, and then you will know, oh my god, he's here, they're here. Or maybe you will smell like a perfume, oh my god, and suddenly it just comes to you, it's like, oh my god, you know, it's like things like that. Maybe something is just going to fall off the table. And very often, you know, this is like quite overwhelming, and that happens, you know, let's say this pen, you know, it just falls off the table, like falls down. It's like, oh my god. And you just have no idea, like, maybe who this is. And it's very often this pen falls off the table. It starts with P. Pen. It starts with P. So it could be Peter. It could be Paul. It could be Paula. Okay? You know, it's like it's to do with the name, you know, with the first letter, like a pen. So it falls off and you're like, oh my god, who is this? And it's very often we are overwhelmed when it happens like that, because it takes a huge amount of energy for the spirit to actually gather and gain in order to move an object like this. So it can become quite overwhelming. But at the same time, if you're unsure who this is, just look for the first letter of the actual object's name that fell on the floor, like pen, happy. Just remember. And also, like, for example, the food, very often the food that people used to cook, for example, people who used to be in our lives, you can smell, minestrone, or you can smell like, I don't know, pizza, or you can smell like a pasta, or you can smell like some cookies, it really depends, but it just kind of could be like the certain food that these people used to cook when they used to be around you, for example, and then you can just kind of know who they are. So there are many different ways. They can contact you to your dreams, they can contact you in your dreams, they can contact you while you're lucid dreaming, they can contact you while you're having astral projections, they can come through and say hello, if you are lucky enough to remember your astral projections, there are many different ways that the spirits can actually contact you. Just watch for the signs. This is an absolutely super important and remarkable time to watch for the signs as well. But also when we are having problems, when we are having negativity and some certain things that are making us really unhappy and sad and negative in our lives, very often these spirits, it's a bit more complex, you see, than that. So very often the spirits are going to come through it around this time, and not just to say hello, I'm here, not just that, but it's also they're going to try to kind of point you towards a certain problem, or they're going to want you, like, point you towards the certain, like, what do you need to do, what resolution do you need to make, what your next step should be. So you just need to kind of tune in and just follow the steps, what the spirits and the spirit world is trying to tell you, because very often they're trying to help us, very often they're trying to guide us, very often they're trying to let us know that it's not as bad as it seems like with certain problems and situations. Very often they try to let us know that there are opportunities around us that we wouldn't normally see or get, you see. So this is why this is so important, and this is the very powerful time when it comes to us having this ability to connect and reconnect. So therefore we are able to understand these situations this much easier. Okay, number 12. Number 12 would be offer something to people in need. Now, oh gosh, this is, you see, you're flickering, they're already starting. I wonder which spirit is this, but yeah, it's to do with the offer something to people in need. You see, you started to flicker at this moment in time, so this is the important one. Who needs your help? Okay, maybe somebody needs help in your life. Maybe someone is not doing that great. Maybe someone is doing really bad. Maybe someone is not having enough, like, to survive on. Maybe maybe there are, like, people outside that the people who are asking for money, maybe people outside, if you can give them something, give them some food, offer something to them, give them something. This is also an important time when it comes to our karma. And when it comes to our connection, I'm not saying that you should be doing this because of the karma, because of your connection, so you can get like a karmic reward, blah, blah, blah. No, baby, no. I'm saying this is because of the humanity. I'm saying this because we are all humans. I'm saying this because we have a very strong connection with each other at that moment in time. Yes, karmically, this is a mind-blowing time of connection and reconnection, not only with like a family members and people in our lives, but with the people around us, with the people who are suffering, with the people who are not doing great, with the people who are doing bad, with the people who are really unhappy, with the people who are in need. The people who are in need are really kind of like, they need us, and this is the great time to actually go through and offer our help by giving them something, by helping people, by seeing who we can help to, by seeing how we can make this situation better, by seeing how we can help to that person. It could be somebody outside, like a person, asking for food, or it could be somebody around us, it could be somebody who you maybe just see, for the first time. It really depends, but it's a wonderful and important time also, karmically and spiritually, to try to help to someone like who is in need. A remarkable time. Yes, you are going to have a remarkable karmic reward later on, a few months later down on the line, which is going to be the direct result of your own pure goodness. But there are also going to be the important signs, absolutely mind-blowing signs that you are going to have at around that time if you do decide to do so, you will see, because something different and unusual is going to happen, and this is going to be the direct result of this activity. So try to help to people in need if you possibly can. Okay. Sorry. And now basically the number 13 would be the last thing that I would recommend to you to do. Actually, number 13, it would be to try to again use the actual candle in order to invite spirits in your life, or to actually kind of like ward evil spirits in your life. There are a couple of ways that you can use the candle. You know, like the actual pumpkin, you know, traditionally what people used to do with the actual pumpkin, you know, you've got a pumpkin, you carve it, you make an ugly face, like scary face, and you put like a little candle inside. Well, this is traditionally on Samhain. What people used to actually do is to ward off the evil spirits, to ward off the negative spirits. So to use the candles in order to invite spirits, or to use the candle in order to ward off the negative spirits. You see, there are a couple of things that you can do. It's the candle that I mentioned before, in order to light it, and then you make a very strong connection. In one of the previous points, what I was saying is that the candle you can use, and you can like much easier, you can make a very strong and quick connection with somebody who passed away, somebody specific. But in this situation, point number 13, it's to light the candle. There are two ways that I'm going to say. So if you would like to like ward off the evil spirits and the negative spirits, the bad spirits, okay, then you just take like a pumpkin and you carve the pumpkin. Yes, this is what people have been traditionally used, and many people don't know the actual history of this and where this is actually coming from, but this is exactly what was happening. You use the actual pumpkin, and it's the same with the Ouija board. You use something for such a long time, you put so much energy towards it, as collectively make Ouija board really strong and very powerful and very specific when it comes to the actual inviting spirits, you see. So therefore, because we use like our intentional energy for such a long time and directing it towards the Ouija board, we made it so powerful. So we can use the Ouija board, as I said before. You can put it in your room, you don't even use it, and things can kind of start happening like almost immediately. This is big, and you didn't even use it yet. And this is because people have been using this specifically for such a long time, and now it just took this energy. Now this is what it is basically. So it's the same thing when it comes to the actual pumpkin. You know, it's a bit more deeper, a bit more spiritual, a very powerful way of warding off the evil spirits. So traditionally, you would take the pumpkin, you would carve the pumpkin, you would basically make like a scary face, and then you would put a candle inside. So traditionally, people have been doing this in order to ward off the evil spirits. So the evil spirits think that you are like one of them, you see. That's why the pumpkin would have this scary face, you see. So basically the bottom line is, so to using the candle is very important in this time, because we are so spiritually, and candles are very powerful because they help us to open up so much more, and also they help us magnetically, you know, they create this beautiful magnetic energy and helps us to not only connect but to bring things further much quicker, or to ward things away at the same time. It's very powerful in both ways indeed. So you take a pumpkin, you make an ugly face, and you put a little candle inside, and then you put a pumpkin outside, and this is the way, this is a fantastic way to keep evil spirits away traditionally. You know what else? The cats are also wonderful, and animals, cats and dogs also, animals in general are fantastic to keep evil spirits away as well. That's just like a little tip. But cats are very specific and very strong and very powerful when it comes to keeping evil spirits at bay indeed. So when it comes to the actual candle, and when it comes to the point number 13, so one way that you can do the candle is to put it in a pumpkin and to ward off the evil spirits by keeping it outside and on your porch, in your window, outside of your door, and things like that, or maybe in your garden. You know, it depends where you want to place it. It depends where you want to feel it. You know, maybe you will place it outside outside in the front door and outside of the back door if you've got two doors. You know, it depends. Maybe you will feel like you want to put it in the window. You know, just follow your intuition, follow the power of your subconscious mind, because if you feel like you need to put somewhere else, you just put it somewhere else. But it's very much so advisable to put in front of your front door. Okay. And the second thing that I wanted to say when it comes to the actual candle, it's completely different way. Candle you can also use just to invite the specific spirit into your life, basically. So invite them in and maybe ask them a particular question, maybe ask them a specific question, you know, maybe try to connect, try to reconnect. Maybe you can ask them for like a little bit of like a guidance, or you can ask them for a little bit of direction, but then you can just kind of, you need to give them also like about few days like a time. And then few days later, there will be an important sign that you will have from that particular spirit. But because you're doing this at such a moment in time when the energy is so powerful, it's so deep, it's so specific, it's so mysterious, it's so enhanced in so many different ways, you know. This is also opening up all sorts of pathways and doors at the same time. So therefore, you need to understand that it seems like, oh, it's just so simple, just light the candle and just invite a specific spirit into your life. But when you invite them, you just ask them for the guidance, you ask them for the direction, you ask them for something specific, and then you wait few days later, and then few days later you will get your answer, you will get your direction, you will get your sign that you wouldn't normally have. And this is an important time, you know, to do this for connection and reconnection, you know, with the spirit. It can be a particular spirit, but it can also be the spirit that you are just, you know, trying to focus maybe on, like just a really friendly and positive spirit, you know, if they can just kind of guide you and give you an important sign. But you need to remember that when you light the candle, you at the same time you ask that question, and you need to be as specific as you possibly can when you ask that question, whether this is a specific spirit or whether this is the spirit that you're actually inviting into your life for the first time. Okay, my gorgeous people, I was just going to say, this is you see, this just moved. I don't know if you've seen this, my gorgeous people. I think I've got like a plenty of spirits around me as we speak. I think me just talking about it invited all sorts of spirits around here, like most certainly. First of all, I had a bit of a candle moment, and then I had a bit of a flower moment here, plant moment indeed. But I like it. I feel that they're good, I feel that they're optimistic, and I feel that they're really positive. But on another hand, I really wish you the best ever Samhain or Halloween, but most certainly Samhain is my favorite way of saying this. I wish you all the best and make the most of it, my gorgeous people. I love every single one of you. Happy Samhain, my gorgeous people. I love you. Sending you brightest blessings, healing, peace, love and light. Thank you for watching. Sasha Bonasin, Psychic Medium.